Commander Allison Wright felt tired. She had been staring at the scanner screen for hours. The year was 2487, and her ship, the USS Vigilant, was on patrol duty at the edge of human space. The crew was bored after 3 months in deep space with nothing exciting happening. Humans had been traveling in space for almost 400 years now. They had a peace agreement with the aliens in the Galactic Consortium. The aliens had not liked humans at first because humans were too aggressive. "Commander, I see something strange on the scanner," said Lieutenant Chris Baker. His voice broke the quiet on the bridge. "It's a weak signal, but it's not natural." Wright walked to his station and looked at his screen. "Where is it coming from?" "Sector 7, near the Proxima Centauri system," Baker answered. Then his eyes got wide. "Wait, this can't be right." "What's wrong, Lieutenant?" "The signal matches one of our own ships. The computer says it's the USS Defiant." Baker looked up at Wright with surprise. That ship disappeared more than 200 years ago during the First Contact War. Wright felt a cold feeling in her stomach. The First Contact War was when humans first met aliens. The war had almost wiped out all humans before peace was finally agreed upon. All the ships from that time were either destroyed or taken apart long ago. "Set a course to that location," Wright ordered. "We need to check this out." The Vigilant traveled through space toward the signal. As they got closer, they saw the shape of an old warship floating in empty space. Its metal body had many battle scars but was still in one piece. The USS Defiant had been one of the best warships humans ever built. It had special technology that remained secret even after the war ended. "Are there any people on board?" Wright asked. "No life signs, Commander," said Ensign Patricia Miller from her station. "But the ship's power is running in low mode. It's like it's been sleeping and waiting for someone to find it." Wright thought for a moment. This was a big discovery. An ancient warship thought to be lost forever was now floating in front of them. She needed to know more. "I want a team to go onto that ship," Wright decided. "We need to find out how it survived out here for 200 years, and why it's sending out a signal now." The Vigilant moved closer to the old warship. Through the big front window they could see more details now. The Defiant was bigger than modern ships. Its weapons ports were closed, but everyone knew what kind of destruction they could cause. This ship was from a time when humans had to fight hard just to survive in space. "The ship's computers might still work," said Officer Frank Lopez from the engineering station. "If they do, we could learn a lot about how the war really ended. The history books never gave us the full story." Wright nodded. "History is written by the survivors, but computers don't lie." She turned to Baker. "Any reaction from the ship as we approach?" "No, Commander. It's just sitting there, but I'm picking up more power readings now. Systems seem to be waking up the closer we get." This made Wright nervous. "Scan for traps or automatic defense systems." Miller worked quickly at her station. "Nothing active, Commander, but the ship's energy core is unusual. The readings don't match anything in our database." "The Defiant was built with experimental technology," said Lopez. "Some of it was banned after the war because it was too powerful. The peace treaty with the aliens required us to stop using it." Wright made up her mind. "Prepare a team. Lopez, you're with me. Baker, you have the bridge. Miller, keep scanning that ship. If anything changes, call us back immediately." "Commander," Baker said with worry in his voice, "the history books say the Defiant took down 3 alien battleships before it disappeared. The aliens were terrified of this ship. If they find out it's still around, then we need to learn its secrets before they do." Wright finished his thought. "Get the shuttle ready." As the team prepared to visit the ancient warship, none of them knew they were being watched. A small alien scout ship hidden behind a distant moon had picked up the same signal. The scout quickly sent a message to its leaders. The message was simple. "Human death ship Defiant found. Still intact. Humans investigating." The aliens remembered the Defiant well. During the war, it had destroyed their best ships with weapons. They couldn't understand. They had celebrated when it disappeared. Now it was back, and they feared what would happen if humans learned its secrets again. The alien commander gave an order. Destroy the Defiant, and any humans who have seen it. No trace must remain. 3 large alien warships changed course and headed toward the human patrol ship and the ancient warship floating in space. They planned to attack quickly and without warning, but they were making a huge mistake. They didn't know what the old human warship could still do. They were about to learn the hard way. 4 people from the Vigilant boarded the old warship. The team was Commander Wright, Lieutenant Baker, Engineer Greg Howard, and Dr. Samantha Nelson. They floated through the airlock into the main hallway of the Defiant. Their helmet lights showed that the inside of the ship was clean and well kept, which was strange for such an old ship. "This is weird," Howard said, looking at his scanner. "This ship has been keeping its life support and repair systems running for 200 years. The power should have run out long ago." "Maybe they had really good batteries back then," Baker said with a nervous laugh. Dr. Nelson shook her head. "During the First Contact War, humans built technology that was better than what we have now. People say the Defiant had special systems that were later banned by our peace treaties with the aliens." Wright led them toward the bridge. She had a bad feeling in her stomach. "The history books say the Defiant vanished during the Battle of Proxima Centauri. It destroyed 3 alien ships before it disappeared. Everyone thought it was destroyed, too." The doors to the bridge opened smoothly as if the ship knew they were coming. The bridge was dark with only a few dim emergency lights. Howard went to the main control panel. "I think I can turn on the bridge systems." "Go ahead," Wright ordered. While Howard worked, Baker looked around the captain's chair. He noticed a small metal plate on the armrest and wiped off the dust. "Captain Stephen Russell," he read out loud. "He was a war hero, right?" Wright nodded. "He refused to give up at Proxima Centauri, even when he was outnumbered. They say he fought until his ship was badly damaged." Suddenly the bridge came to life. Screens turned on, and a light in the middle of the room formed into a human shape. A man wearing an old captain's uniform. "Please identify yourself to access ship systems," the glowing man said in a flat voice. "It's an AI," Howard whispered. "Very advanced for its time." Wright stepped forward. "I am Commander Allison Wright from the USS Vigilant, United Earth Space Force." The glowing man looked at her for a moment. "Human military person identified. Limited access granted." The man's face became more lifelike. "I am Adam, the Autonomous Defense and Management System of the USS Defiant. Captain Russell put me into the ship's systems during the final days of the war." "What happened to the people who worked on this ship?" Wright asked. "All crew members left the ship before the final battle. Captain Russell uploaded my program to continue the mission if the ship survived." The AI stopped talking for a second. "The mission is still active." "What mission?" Baker asked. Before Adam could answer, a loud alarm started blaring. "Warning, 3 ships coming toward us. They are consortium military ships from the Narak Empire." The Narak were reptile-like aliens who had fought hard against humans during the war. They were still one of the most aggressive species in the consortium. "They must have noticed when we turned on the ship's power," Howard said. The hologram of Adam flickered. "The Narak were our main enemies in the First Contact War. Are we still fighting them?" "No," Wright said quickly. "The war ended 200 years ago. We have peace with the consortium now." "Then why are armed Narak ships approaching with weapons ready to fire?" Adam asked. "Turning on defense systems." Wright's communicator made a noise. "Commander, this is the Vigilant. 3 Narak warships have entered the system. They are demanding we leave what they call a dangerous human weapon platform. They are threatening to attack us." Wright looked at the hologram. "Adam, we need to turn off the ship's power and talk with them. The war is over." "My main job is to protect humans," Adam replied. "My sensors show the Narak ships are targeting both the Defiant and your ship, Commander. They did not come here to talk." The floor beneath them shook as old systems turned on. Wright realized with growing fear that they had woken up something that had been sleeping for centuries. A warship built for a war that still left deep scars. Meanwhile, on the lead Narak ship, Commander Scar looked at the ancient human warship. On his screen, His scales tightened against his body in fear, but he didn't show it to his crew. That ship should have been destroyed centuries ago, his second officer said, her voice shaking. The records say it had weapons that could cut through our best shields like they weren't even there. Those are old stories meant to scare young Narek, Scar said, trying to sound brave. No ship could survive 200 years in deep space. It must be damaged. The humans probably just found it and turned on some basic systems. But Commander, our scans show power levels rising, the weapons officer reported. Its defense shields are activating, Scar hissed in anger. The humans are trying to restart their old weapon. We cannot allow this. Prepare all weapons and target both ships. We will destroy this threat before it can be used against us again. Commander, his tactical officer said quietly. Perhaps we should call for reinforcements? The stories say the Defiant destroyed 3 of our best ships before it disappeared. Those were just stories, Scar insisted, but doubt crept into his mind. Fire a warning shot. Show the humans we are serious. On the Defiant's bridge, Wright and her team felt the ship shake as energy hit its newly activated shields. The Narrak have fired on us, Adam reported calmly. Their weapons are not strong enough to damage our shields. Shall I return fire? Wright's eyes widened. No, do not fire unless I give the order. Adam's hologram looked at her with what seemed like curiosity. You wish to show restraint? Interesting. Captain Russell programmed me to learn and adapt. Perhaps much has changed in 2 centuries, Baker whispered to Wright. Commander, if the Narrak attack the Vigilant, our ship won't stand a chance. Their shields aren't designed to handle military-grade weapons. Wright knew he was right. The Vigilant was just a patrol ship, not a warship. It wouldn't survive a real fight with 3 Narrak cruisers. Adam, Wright asked, can you protect the Vigilant without attacking the Narrak ships? Yes, Commander, I can extend the Defiant's shields to cover your vessel. Do it, Wright ordered. Then she opened a channel to the Narrak ships. Narrak vessels, this is Commander Wright. We did not come here looking for a fight. We found this ship by accident. Let's talk about this situation. The reply came quickly, a harsh voice filled with anger and fear. Humans, you have awakened a forbidden weapon. We will not allow you to use it against us. Leave now, or be destroyed. Wright looked at Adam's hologram, which was watching her with interest. 200 years of sleep had not dulled the ship's impressive capabilities. The old warship was awake now, and the Narrak had no idea what they were challenging. Commander Wright, go back to your ship immediately. A loud voice boomed through the Defiant's communication system. The voice belonged to Commander Scar of the Narrak fleet. His words had a hissing sound that all Narrak had when they spoke human language. The human warship is forbidden by Section 12 of our peace agreement. We have the right to destroy it, and any ship that gets in our way. Wright looked at her team. The Narrak had never fully trusted the peace with humans. They always said humans should be controlled, not welcomed as equals in the consortium. Adam, can you open a channel to the Narrak ships? Wright asked. Channel open, the AI responded. Commander Scar, this is Commander Wright of the USS Vigilant. We found this old ship by accident and are just checking it out. It is not a threat to anyone. The Narrak commander laughed, a cold sound that sent shivers down Wright's spine. Not a threat? The Defiant was the most dangerous weapon humans ever built during the war. Our history tells us it destroyed 3 of our best warships before it disappeared. Its AI weapon system was too dangerous to exist under our peace agreement. Leave now or be destroyed with it, Baker whispered to Wright. They're scared of this ship. After 200 years, they're still terrified of what it can do. Wright nodded. Give us time to leave. No time, Scar interrupted. You woke the beast, and now you will die with it. We will tell the consortium you triggered the ship's self-destruct system. A sad accident. The communication cut off suddenly. They're getting ready to fire weapons, Howard reported, looking at the Defiant's tactical screen. They're really going to attack us. Wright made a quick decision. Everyone back to our shuttle, now. As they turned to leave, Adam's hologram flickered. Commander Wright, the Narrak ships will destroy your shuttle before it reaches your ship. The Defiant's defense systems are at 64% power despite being asleep for so long. I suggest a different plan. Wright stopped. I'm listening. Let me turn on my defense shields. I can extend them to protect your shuttle while you leave, then I can talk to the Narek from a position of strength. Wright thought about the AI's words. And if the Narek attack anyway? Then I will respond with just enough force to protect both ships under my care, as I was programmed to do. The first blast from the Narek cruisers hit the Defiant, making the ship shake. The old shields held strong. They're not waiting to talk, Baker said with worry in his voice. Wright made her decision. Adam, defend the ships but try not to kill anyone. We need to show them we're not the threat they think we are. Understood, Commander. As Wright and her team ran to the shuttle bay, the Defiant came alive around them. Lights turned on to full power, and they could hear the low hum of energy weapons charging up. From the shuttle, they watched in amazement as the ancient warship moved with surprising speed, positioning itself between the Vigilant and the Narek cruisers. When the next volley of Narek weapons hit, the Defiant's shields absorbed it easily. Then the old warship responded. Precise beam weapons, technology that had been banned after the war, shot out from the Defiant. But instead of hitting the Narek ships directly, the beams only disabled their weapon systems with surgical precision. Adam is avoiding killing shots, Howard observed with surprise. He could have destroyed those ships, but he's just disarming them. Wright watched as the Defiant showed why it had been so feared. Its targeting systems were better than anything used in modern fleets, and its defensive capabilities seemed untouchable by the Narek's best weapons. On the lead Narek ship, Commander, Scar felt real fear for the first time in his military career. The ancient human warship had easily blocked their attack and disabled their main weapons without even trying hard. Impossible, Scar hissed. How can it still be so powerful after 2 centuries? Sir, our weapons are offline, his weapons officer reported, his scales pale with fear. The Defiant targeted only our weapon systems. It could have destroyed us, but didn't. Scar didn't understand. In the old stories, the Defiant had been ruthless, destroying everything in its path. Why would it show mercy now? The human commander's voice came through their communication system. Commander Scar, we have no desire for a fight. The Defiant is defending itself and us against your attack. Stop now, and we can talk about this situation peacefully. Scar looked at his bridge crew. Their faces showed the same fear he felt inside. Their fleet of 3 modern warships was helpless against this ancient human weapon. Your old weapon has disabled our systems, Scar finally responded. We will stop for now, but the consortium will hear about this. Wright breathed a sigh of relief as the Narek ships backed away to a safe distance. The shuttle docked with the Vigilant and she returned to her own ship's bridge. Captain, Baker said, we just witnessed something amazing. That AI from the war chose not to destroy those ships even though it had every advantage. That's not what the history books told us about the Defiant. Wright nodded thoughtfully. Maybe there's more to the story than what we were taught. On the Defiant, Adam's hologram stood alone on the bridge. The AI reviewed its actions. Captain, Russell's final orders had been to protect humanity and its interests, but also to learn and evolve. In the past, Adam would have destroyed the Narek ships without hesitation. But observing Commander Wright had shown him another approach, one of restraint and diplomacy. It was an interesting development. Perhaps humans had changed in 200 years. The question now was, what would happen when word of the Defiant's return spread throughout the consortium? Adam began running scenarios, preparing for what would come next. Meanwhile, across consortium space, urgent messages were already being sent. The dreaded human warship Defiant had returned. The news triggered emergency meetings on a dozen worlds. Some species feared a new war. Others saw an opportunity to renegotiate with humans from a position of weakness. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted dramatically. And it all started because of one small patrol ship finding an ancient warship that everyone thought was destroyed long ago. After the fight with the Narek ships, Wright and her team returned to the Defiant. This time they brought more people from the Vigilant, including Chief Science Officer Dr. Paul Rivera. The Narek ship stayed far away, But everyone knew this was just the beginning of the trouble. News about the famous human warship was already spreading fast through consortium space. In the Defiant's main computer room, Dr. Rivera worked with engineer Howard to access the ship's secret files. "This is amazing," Rivera said, looking at the data on his screen. The Defiant wasn't just a warship. It was a test ship for new technology. There are designs here that were never used in later ships. Wright frowned. "Why would we give up such advanced technology?" "Because most of it was against the peace treaties," Howard answered, pointing to different designs on the screen. "Look at these weapon systems. They were classified as too destructive. And this engine technology, I think it's early phase shifting, which was completely banned." Adam's hologram appeared beside them. The technology restrictions were a condition for humanity to join the consortium. Captain Russell saw this coming and created a backup plan. "What backup plan?" Wright asked. When it became clear that humans would need to give up their best technology to get peace, Captain Russell and a small group of military leaders arranged for the Defiant to disappear, officially destroyed in battle, but actually hidden in deep space. Adam paused as if thinking about what to say next. The Defiant was saved as insurance, a place to keep human military technology that could be used again if the peace with the consortium failed and humanity needed to defend itself. The meaning of this was huge. For 200 years, humans had believed they willingly gave up their best military technology for peace. But really, their ancestors had made a backup plan, a sleeping giant that could be awakened if needed. "That's why the Narek reacted so aggressively," Baker said. "They must have known or at least suspected that the Defiant wasn't destroyed." Dr. Nelson, who had been looking at medical records, looked up from her station. "There's more. According to these logs, Captain Russell didn't just save the ship. He saved data on dozens of banned research projects, medical technology, energy production, even ways to make planets livable that the consortium had classified as too dangerous." "But Adam," Wright turned to the hologram, "why show yourself now after 200 years?" "My programming included a schedule to wake up and check on how humans and the consortium were getting along. Recent border fights with the Narek triggered an early wake-up sequence." The AI's face became more serious. "What I've learned since waking up is concerning. While officially at peace, the consortium has been systematically limiting human expansion and technological development, using the treaties to make sure humanity remains weaker rather than an equal partner." Wright couldn't disagree with that assessment. Human colonies had faced increasing restrictions in recent decades, always with diplomatic explanations that somehow resulted in advantages for other consortium species. "Commander," Adam continued, "I don't believe Captain Russell intended the Defiant to restart a war. Rather, this ship represents a negotiating position, proof that humanity had abilities beyond what the consortium recognized, and could develop them again if forced." A communication alert interrupted them. "Commander Wright," Lieutenant Baker called from the bridge. "We're receiving messages from both Earth Command and the Consortium Council. Word of the Defiant has spread faster than we expected." Wright took a deep breath. The discovery of the Defiant had just changed the balance of power in a way no one could have predicted. It wasn't just a powerful warship, but it was proof that humanity had been manipulated into a position of deliberate weakness for 2 centuries. "Adam," she asked, "what would Captain Russell do in this situation?" The AI seemed to think carefully about the question. "Based on his final logs, I believe he would use this ship not as a weapon, but as a symbol, a reminder that humanity chose peace when it could have chosen dominance." Wright nodded slowly, a plan forming in her mind. "Then that's exactly what we'll do." Over the next several hours, Wright spoke with Admiral Garcia from Earth Command, who had rushed to the scene after hearing about the Defiant. Together, they developed a bold strategy. "The consortium has called an emergency meeting," Admiral Garcia told Wright. "They're demanding explanations about the Defiant, but now we have leverage we've never had before." Wright agreed. "We should use it wisely. This isn't about restarting a war, it's about fixing an unfair situation." Meanwhile, on the consortium capital world, the news of the Defiant's return had caused panic among some species and careful calculation among others. The crystalline Vex, who led the Consortium Council, called an emergency session. "This changes everything," said High Counselor Trelna, the eldest Vex. "If the humans have preserved this technology, what else might they have hidden? Perhaps we have underestimated them all these years." The Alomi representative, a swirling cloud of sentient gas, responded. "Or perhaps this presents an opportunity. The humans have shown restraint. Their ancient warship disabled Narek vessels without destroying them. This suggests they truly value peace. Restraint today does not guarantee restraint tomorrow," argued the Narek diplomat. "We must demand they surrender this warship immediately." Trelna's crystalline body sparkled with decision. "No. We will negotiate. For too long we have used the old treaties to keep humans contained. If they wanted war, they could have used this ship's technology long ago. The fact that they didn't speaks volumes." As the council debated, Wright and Admiral Garcia prepared to attend the emergency session. They would bring technical data from the Defiant, not as a threat but as proof that humanity deserved a place as equals in the consortium. "Are you ready for this, Commander?" Garcia asked. "What happens in the next few days could change human history forever." Wright looked at the hologram of Adam, who had been quietly observing. "Yes, Admiral. I think Captain Russell would be proud of what his ship will accomplish today, not through war but through peace." The meeting room on the consortium diplomatic ship Peaceful Dialogue was filled with tension. On one side sat the human representatives, Commander Wright, Captain Victor Ramirez of the Vigilant, and Admiral Nicole Garcia, who had come quickly from Earth Command after hearing about the Defiant. Facing them were representatives from the main consortium species, the reptilian Narek, the crystal-like Vex, the gas-formed Alomi, and the insect-like Zentari. At the head of the table sat High Counselor Trelna, a Vex elder whose see-through body sparkled with light patterns that showed her feelings as much as her words. "This emergency meeting of the Consortium Council will now begin," Trelna announced. "We are here to talk about a human warship that, according to our peace agreement from 2289, should not exist." Commander Scar of the Narak leaned forward, his scales standing up in anger. "The humans have kept a forbidden weapon hidden for 200 years. This breaks at least 7 major parts of our treaty." Admiral Garcia remained calm. "The Defiant was thought to be destroyed by our government too. It was saved by a captain who was afraid the peace would not last. A fear that seems reasonable, given recent Narak attacks near our colonies." "Attacks?" Scar hissed. "We are only enforcing the territory limits you agreed to." High Counselor Trelna raised a crystal arm, silencing him. "What matters now is not how the Defiant survived, but what happens next. Commander Wright, as the person who found this ship, what does humanity plan to do with it?" Wright had prepared carefully for this moment, talking with both Earth Command and Adam. She stood up and turned on a hologram in the center of the meeting table. The image showed detailed plans of the Defiant's most advanced systems. "The Defiant has technology that humanity developed before we met aliens," Wright began. "Technology we agreed to give up as a condition for peace. But these plans show not just weapons, but advances in medicine, energy production, and environmental engineering that could help all species." She changed the display to show the original treaty documents. "However, our study of the treaty language shows something interesting. Humanity agreed not to develop these technologies further, but there was no rule against using technologies we had already created." A murmur ran through the alien delegates. The Alomi representative, a swirling cloud of thinking gas contained in a clear suit, spoke next. "You cannot seriously suggest using 200-year-old banned weapon systems." "No," Wright agreed. "But we do suggest changing certain parts of the treaty. The Defiant proves that humanity willingly held back its development because we truly wanted peace, not because we couldn't do more. That restraint has been taken advantage of for generations." She pointed to Admiral Garcia, who produced a data crystal containing Earth Command's official proposal. "We don't want to leave the consortium or start fighting again. We want equal partnership and the right to use technologies that have been unfairly restricted." The Zentari representative clicked rapidly. its insect mouthparts moving in what the humans had learned was a sign of worry. And if these demands are not met, will your ancient warship start attacking our worlds? Wright shook her head firmly. The Defiant will be placed under joint human consortium control as a research vessel. Its AI, Adam, has already shown it will use minimal force even when directly attacked. We see it not as a weapon, but as a source of knowledge that shows humanity's potential. Potential we chose not to use in the interest of peaceful coexistence. High Counselor Trelna's crystal body shimmered thoughtfully. You have planned this negotiation skillfully, Commander Wright. You show a powerful asset, then immediately offer to share control of it, while using its existence to justify bigger changes. Not changes, Wright corrected respectfully. Corrections to an imbalance that has lasted too long. After many hours of heated debate, a plan emerged. The Defiant would indeed become a joint research platform, with representatives from all major consortium species working with humans to study and adapt its technologies for peaceful uses. More importantly, restrictions on human colony expansion would be reduced, and certain technology fields previously closed to human development would be reopened. As the delegates prepared to return to their ships, Commander Scar approached Wright privately. You played the situation well, human, the Narek admitted with reluctance. But remember this. My ancestors feared your kind for good reason. The Defiant is a reminder of why. Wright met his reptilian eyes steadily. The Defiant is also a reminder that we chose peace when we could have chosen otherwise. Remember that too, Commander. Aboard the Defiant, now renamed Research Vessel Cooperation under the new agreement, Adam's hologram appeared before Wright as she made a final inspection. You have fulfilled Captain Russell's true mission, the AI said. He believed humanity would eventually need to renegotiate from a position of strength, not restart a war. Wright nodded, looking at the stars through the bridge window. Sometimes, the most powerful weapon isn't the one you fire, it's the one you choose not to fire. The ancient warship, once feared and now a symbol of a new beginning, turned on its engines. Not for battle this time, but to journey back to Earth for the first time in 2 centuries, a ghost from humanity's warlike past that had returned to create a path to a more equal future. As the Defiant's systems hummed around her, Wright couldn't help but wonder what other secrets from humanity's past might still be waiting among the stars, and what new balance they might bring to a galaxy still learning how different species could truly live together as equals. The end.